Hi guys, this is Sadek from Debugging.com, and in this video, we'll show you how to root any OnePlus phone running OxygenOS 13 based on Android 13 either via Magisk Boot.img or the Magisk Init Boot.img file. So with Android 13, there has been a major change when it comes to rooting. So now some phones require you to use the Boot.img file, whereas other phones now require the Init Boot.img file. So how to make sure which file is right for you? Well, if your phone was launched with Android 12 or an older version out of the box, then you have to use the Boot.img file. So for instance, in case of OnePlus 10 Pro, OnePlus 9, OnePlus 8 series or the Pixel 6, Xiaomi 12 Pro, in all such phones, they were launched with an older version of OS, and since then they have been blessed with the Android 13 update. So in all such phones which was launched with Android 12 or older OS version and have since been updated to Android 13, they have to use the Boot.img file. On the other hand, all those Android phone which was launched with Android 13 or higher version out of the box, such as the OnePlus 11, Pixel 7 Pro, Xiaomi 13 Pro, all such phone have to use the init Boot.img file. So if we strictly talk about the OnePlus series, then the OnePlus 8, 9 and 10, since they were launched with an Android 12 or older OS version, will be using the Boot.img file. And in case of OnePlus 11, which was launched with Android 13 out of the box, in that case we will use the init Boot.img file. I'll show you both these methods to root the phone, but before that, do keep in mind that there are still a few exceptions to this rule. For example, the recently launched Nothing Phone 2 comes with Android 13 but still uses a Boot.img file. So there are one or two exceptions which I will keep updating in this section, so make sure to keep a track of this. So with that said, first and foremost, I'll show you how to root those OnePlus phone which was launched with Android 12 or older OS version and have since been updated to Android 13, and hence I'll be using the Magisk stock Boot.img file for rooting. So these include the OnePlus 8, 9 and 10 Pro. On that note, please take a backup of all the data on your phone and then let's get started. You could read all the benefits and risks of rooting from this guide. I will not be explaining right now. You could go through this if you want. So first off, you have to install the Android SDK platform tools. This is the official ADB binary given by Google and is required to execute ADB command. So download it from the link given in my guide over here and then extract them onto your PC. You could extract them anywhere you want. I have done the extraction E drive. As you could see, these are the files of the platform tools folder. Once that is done, your next course of action is to enable USB debugging and OEM unlocking. USB debugging is required to execute ADB command, whereas OEM unlocking is required to unlock the bootloader on your phone. So let's now carry out both this task. For that, you have to go to the settings menu on your phone. From settings menu, you have to go to about device, then go to version and tap on build number 7 times. You will get a prompt that you are now in developer mode. So now go back, again go back. Now go to additional settings and you should now see developer option. Go there and enable the toggle next to OEM unlocking. You will get a prompt on your phone. Tap on enable. Likewise, enable the toggle next to USB debugging. You will get a prompt on your phone. Again, tap on OK. So with this, you will get an RSA key fingerprint prompt. If this is your own PC, you could also check mark always allow from this computer and then tap on allow. So with this, debugging is now enabled. Let's now verify the same. So go to platform tools folder, address bar, type in CMD and hit enter. This will launch the command prompt window inside platform tools folder. Now type in ADB devices and make sure that you are getting a serial ID. Once you are getting this ID, let's now proceed ahead to the next step. So next up, you will now have to unlock the bootloader on your phone. Do note that doing so will wipe off all the data from your phone and it might also make the warranty null and void. So proceed ahead at your own risk. So with that said, let's now unlock the bootloader. For that, your first course of action is to boot your phone to fast boot mode. So let's do that. So simply open the CMD window inside platform tools folder and type in ADB reboot bootloader and then hit enter. And with this, your phone should now boot to the fast boot mode. It could take up to a few seconds. So let's just wait for the time frame. And our phone should subsequently boot into fast boot mode. Once it's in the fast boot mode, you will also have to verify the fast boot mode connection. So now type in fast boot devices and make sure that you are getting a serial ID. If you are not getting any ID, then you will have to install the fast boot drivers on your phone as well. you could refer to my guide on how to install the fastboot drivers. Let me show you that link as well. Just a minute. So as you could see, this is the link. Use this link to install the fastboot drivers if you are not getting the serial ID after writing the command. So with that said, let's now move on to the next step. So next up, you have installed the fastboot drivers from here, and now we could unlock the bootloader. So you could simply copy paste this command. So open CMD window and paste this command over here. Just a minute, let me write it for you. So type in fastboot flashing unlock and hit enter. You will now get a prompt on your phone, as you could see. So use the volume key to highlight the unlock the bootloader option and press the power key to confirm. So your phone will now undergo a reset, and once the reset is complete, the bootloader will be unlocked. So as you could see, it's now getting an orange state warning. Your device has been unlocked and can't be trusted. Your device will boot in 5 seconds. So this warning message is completely normal and nothing to worry about. So let's just wait for the process to complete. In the meantime, let me now proceed ahead with the next step and show you the next step as well. So once that is done, we have now unlocked the bootloader. Your next course of action is to download the firmware which is there on your OnePlus phone. So as of now, you have to download the same firmware version which is currently installed onto your phone. For that, you will have to wait for the phone to boot to the OS. This might take a few seconds, so let's just wait, and then we could verify the version number. It's extremely important that you download the same firmware version which is there on your phone. To verify the same, you could go to the settings menu, then go to about device, and then you could go to version and verify the build number, and from here make sure to download the firmware which correspond exactly to this build number. As far as the download source is concerned, you could use the official OnePlus website if they still uploads. It's up to their own wish. Sometimes they upload, sometimes they don't. Or you could use the Oxygen Updater app as well. It's quite an excellent app. You could install the app from Play Store. Or you could also use the XGA website. It's the only website that I trust. Even if you come across the download link of a firmware on my side, I also directly users generally from XGA. So you could either use the OnePlus official site, the Oxygen Updater app, or the XGA website. With that said, as you could see, since my phone has undergone bootloader unlocked, it's currently reset. So I'll have to set up my phone from scratch. As of now, I'll skip the initial setup and only carry out the tasks which are compulsory and skip the rest of the things. So anyway, let me skip the data restore as well. And in the meantime, if you could refer to my guide and make sure to download the firmware, as I've told you, the official site or the updated app, or using the XGA website which correspond to your build number. Once you have got hold of the firmware, you could extract it. So as of now, the firmware will be in a zip format and it will be named randomly without any name or anything like that. So let me show you. I have done the download, and as of now, as you could see from here, so just a minute, it's done currently. So in my case, as you could see, this is the firmware version name. The name will be jumbled. That's not a cause of concern. Simply right click on it and hit the extract all button. The firmware will be extracted, and once that is done, you will see the following 3 files. Out of this, we only need the Payload.bin file. So in the meantime, let me first show you quickly. So go to settings, then go to about device and go to version, and this is the build number that I am talking about. Make sure to download the same firmware which corresponds to the build number. Once you have got it, simply extract it. Upon extraction, you will get all these 3 files, out of which we only need the Payload.bin file. So now that you have got the bin file, let's proceed ahead. So next up, you will now have to extract the Boot.img file from this Payload.bin file. For the unaware, OnePlus now packs all the partition img file inside this Payload.bin file. So you will now have to extract this bin file. For that, you could refer to my guide, and I have given this guide. In this guide, there are quite a few methods. So out of this, you should only refer to the first method, and the first method is using the fastboot enhance tool. It's the most easiest out of all the methods. The rest of the methods require the installation of Python, whereas this method does not require anything as such. You just have to download the tool from GitHub from here and extract the tool onto your PC. Once you have got the tool, simply copy the payload.bin file that you have got from the firmware and paste the bin file over here. As you could see, it's the payload.bin file. Extract and paste it inside the, simply paste it inside the Fastboot Enhance folder. Once you have done so, let's now launch the Fastboot Enhance tool via its exe file. And now go to the Payload Dumper tab and click on Browse. And now you have to select the payload.bin file and click on Open. It will now load the payload.bin. Now go to Partition and select the boot file and click on Extract Image. Now select Desktop. Let me verify if there are any other files or not. So I cannot see any. So let me remove all the other boot file from the previous task. So let's now extract the Boot.img file. So just select the location and click on OK, and it will now extract the Boot.img file from the firmware, and the process will take around 10 to 15 seconds at the very max. So let's just wait for the time frame, and as you could see, we have now got the operation complete message. So click on OK and let's verify. So this is the Boot.img file which you have just got. So copy this Boot.img file and you have to paste the file onto your phone. If your phone is not visible here, then simply expand the notification section, and from here you have to expand the system UI charging this device, and then select the file transfer, and your phone should now be visible on your PC. So now just paste the extracted Boot.img file over here. So once that is done, let's proceed ahead. So next up, we have done the extraction. We now have to patch the stock Boot.img file via Magisk. For that, you could refer to my guide, and from here download the latest version of Magisk. So at the time of recording, it's 26.1. You could refer to all the versions from here. So directly go to this version and download the APK from here, or you could also check out the official changelog from GitHub or get hold of the APK from here. Once you have got the APK, simply transfer the APK file onto your phone as well. So let me now transfer the APK file as well. So this is the Magisk APK file. Copy it and then paste it onto your phone. So with this, as of now, you should have the stock Boot.img file and the Magisk APK file onto your phone. Once you have both these files, so now go to your phone and launch the File Manager app. So let's launch the File Manager app, and now first off, you have to install the Magisk APK. So enable install from unknown sources. If this is the first time, then tap on install and Magisk will now be installed. You could also refer to my guide for all the steps if you want to refer. So now launch the Magisk app, type on open and tap on allow. Now tap on install next to Magisk, then select and patch a file. Now you have to choose the stock Boot.img file which you have transferred onto your phone. So choose the Boot.img file, then tap on let's go, and it will now patch the Boot.img file. And once that is done, it will place the file in the downloads folder on your phone. So let's now access this file via our PC. So let me go to my phone, and from my phone, this is the download folder. And as you could see, it's the patch file. So copy this patch file and place this patch file inside the platform tools folder on your PC. So with this, we have now got the patch file, and we will now boot our phone using this patch file. So first and foremost, you have to boot your phone to the fastboot mode. So again, open CMD window and type in ADB reboot bootloader and hit enter, and your phone should now boot to fastboot mode. You could refer to all these steps from my guide as well. I have shown the screenshot as well. So now that you are in the fastboot mode, we will now boot our phone using this patch file. For the ease of convenience, let's rename the file to something shorter, something more meaningful. So let's rename it to Magisk patch _ boot. So with this, we have got the boot file, and now we will boot our phone using this file. So you have to now type in fastboot boot and the name of the file, which is Magisk _ patch _ boot, and the extension is .img, and hit enter. Just a minute, let me verify. Okay, so the name is Magisk patch boot. So type in Magisk patch boot, the exact name of the file, and hit enter, and it will now send the Boot.img file onto your phone, and the process will take up to a few seconds. And once that happens, your phone should automatically boot to the OS in a matter of few seconds. If so, let's just wait for the time frame and then we'll verify the process. So as of now, as you could see, I have used the fastboot boot command and I have not used the flash command. It's always recommended that you use the boot command and not the flash command. I will explain you that as well, why that is needed. But first, since we have used the boot command, our phone is only rooted for one-time usage. So we will now have to make the root permanent. For making the root permanent, simply launch the Magisk app and then you might get a prompt. So let's just wait. Do note that the first boot up of Magisk might take up some time after you have flashed or booted your phone via the Magisk app. So let's just wait, and now you have to type on install, then select direct install and tap on let's go. Magisk will now flash the Boot.img file and make the root permanent. We have just used the boot command and not the flash command. So Magisk is now flashing the new Boot.img file and now it will make the process permanent. So let's just wait for the time frame and then we'll proceed ahead. Once that is done, you will get a reboot button. So tap on reboot and your phone should now reboot to the rooted OS. So as I was telling you, you should always use the boot command and never use the flash command, because if something is wrong with the patch file and your phone and you have used the boot command, so if something is wrong with the patch file and you have used the boot command, then your phone will simply be stuck in a boot loop and you could simply fix it via a second restart. As soon as you do a restart, the patch file will be replaced by the stock file and the issue stands rectified. On the other hand, if you end up using the flash command, then it will flash the corrupt boot file and it will end up corrupting your boot partition and your phone might end up in a brick state. That is why never use the flash command, always use the fastboot boot command, and this will give you root for one-time usage. So once you have used the boot command, your phone will boot to the OS and then you could use the direct install to obtain root. So with that said, let me now show you the process. So let's now launch the Magisk app, and with this we have obtained root. Let's now verify the same. So you could install an app which is known as root checker from Play Store if you want. So let me now transfer this app onto my phone. You could also install this app from Play Store. Since I already have the APK, I am transferring the APK onto my phone and then I'll show you the status of the root. So let me now install the app as well. So let's install the root checker app and then tap on open, then allow, agree to the terms and conditions, get started, and now tap on verify root. As you could see, we have now got the Magisk request. So just tap on grant, and as you could see, our phone is currently running Android 13 and it's rooted via Magisk. You could also verify from the Magisk. If you go to the super user section, as you could see, the app has now gotten root. So guys, these were the steps to root your Android phone using, or rather the OnePlus phone, if it's running OxygenOS 13, OnePlus 13 using the Boot.img file. And let's now discuss the second method. This is for those phones which was launched with Android 13 or higher version out of the box, such as OnePlus 11. On those phones, you don't have to use the Boot.img file, rather you have to use the Init Boot.img file. So let's just show you how that could be done. So first and foremost, you have to check mark the requirement from step 1 to step 4. So let's carry out that task as well. So for step 1 to step 4, let me show you what are the steps. So first of foremost, you have to install Android SDK platform tools. So this is the folder. Next up, you have to enable USB debugging and OEM unlocking from the settings menu. Then you have to unlock the bootloader on your phone. This will wipe off all the data and it might make the warranty null and void. So you could boot your phone to fastboot mode and then use this command to unlock the bootloader. Once that is done, you then have to download the firmware. You could download the firmware from the official OnePlus site, from the XDA website or the Oxygen Updater app. Once you have done the download, you will get a firmware. So extract the firmware and then you will get the following 3 files, out of which you only need the Payload.bin file. So now what you have to do is simply copy the Payload.bin file and then you have to extract this Payload.bin file. For extracting the Payload.bin file, you have to use the fastboot enhance tool. So there exists around 3 to 4 methods of extraction, out of which the fastboot enhance tool is the most easiest one. So simply go to my guide, and as you could see, let me show you once. I have listed around 4 methods, out of which the fastboot enhance tool is the easiest one. So simply refer to my guide and download the Fastboot Enhance tool from here. I have given the official GitHub link as well, so download from here and extract them onto your PC. Once that is done, you will now have to extract the Fastboot Enhance tool onto your PC. So let me show you that tool as well. So this is the Fastboot Enhance tool, and now what you have to do is simply, okay, let me first close the window from the previous task. So once you have extracted the Fastboot Enhance tool, you will now have to paste the Payload.bin file of the stock firmware which came with your phone. So regarding the downloading of the stock firmware, please make sure that it's the same version which is currently installed onto your phone. For that, you could go to the settings menu. From settings menu, go to about device, then go to version, and from version check out the build number and make sure to download the same firmware which correspond to this build number. Once that is done, you might get the firmware under, and it should be renamed something. Let me show you. The rename might be something weird. In case of OnePlus, let me show you. The renaming of the file will be something along the line of this: random alphanumeric characters. Simply right click on it and select extract all. Upon extraction, you will get a few files, out of which we need the Payload.bin file. So then download and extract the Fastboot Enhance tool, and now copy the Payload.bin file from here and paste the bin file inside the Fastboot Enhance folder. The process could take up to a few seconds. So as you could see, we have now got the Payload.bin file inside the Fastboot Enhance folder. So now we have to extract the init boot file from this bin file. So for the unaware, OnePlus now packs all the firmware partition.img file inside this Payload.bin file. So we will now have to extract this file. So for extraction, let me show you. Simply launch the tool via Fastboot Enhance exe file, then go to Payload Dumper, click on Browse, and now you have to load the Payload.bin file. So click on Open, and now go to Partitions, and you should now see the init boot file somewhere lying in this section. So let me just check out this quickly. Just a minute. So this is the init boot file. Select it and then click on extract image. So if you get a warning that it's unable to extract image from incremental package, click on OK. Now check mark allow incremental and click on extract image. Now choose the location. So let's choose desktop and click OK. It will now extract it. Once the extraction is done, let me show you. This is the init boot file, this one. So copy the file, and now you have to send the file onto your phone. So if your phone is not visible here, simply unlock your phone and expand the notification section, and under system UI make sure to select file transfer. Your phone should now be visible here. So simply now transfer the init boot file onto your phone. So this is the init boot file, and likewise your next course of action is to download the Magisk app from my guide. You could refer to my guide, and at the time of recording, the version 26.1 is the latest build. So download the version from here, or you could also go to the GitHub official page and check out the changelog. Once you have got the APK file as well, transfer the APK file onto your phone. So as of now, both the stock init boot file and the Magisk APK file should be on your phone. Again, I am repeating, make sure that the init boot file is from the same firmware which is currently installed onto your phone. So if that's well and good, we could now proceed ahead and patch this init boot file via Magisk. So for that, you have to launch the Magisk app. So install the Magisk APK as you do so for any other app. Then launch the Magisk app. In my case, my phone is currently rooted, so I'm getting the installed version. In your case, your phone will not be rooted, so you will get something like NA. That's not a cause of issue. Simply type on install next to Magisk, or wait, let me remove the root and then I'll show you once again. So I am removing the root so that I could show you from scratch as well. It will only take a few seconds for my phone to unroot, and then I'll show the exact same method on how you could root your phone via patching the init boot. So if you have skipped the first half of the video, my phone was currently rooted because I had just shown how to root the phone using the Boot.img file. So in my case, I'm using a OnePlus 8T which came with Android 11 out of the box, and has since been updated to Android 13. So since it was running with an older OS version and has been updated to Android 13, I had used the Boot.img method to root my phone via Magisk. And now my phone was rooted. I had then moved over to the second method, and that is why you could see my phone was currently rooted by Magisk. So now I have removed root, and now I could show you the second method. So let's now move ahead to the second method. As of now, we have got the stock init boot file via Fastboot enhanced folder. We have extracted that tool and we have got the init boot file onto our phone. Likewise, the Magisk APK file is there onto our phone as well. So first off, you have to install the Magisk APK file. So simply install the APK file onto your phone, and once you have installed it, just launch it. Now as you could see, you will get NA next to Magisk. So tap on install, then tap on select and patch a file, and now you have to choose the stock init boot file. So choose it and tap on let's go, and as you could see, Magisk will now patch the init boot file and place the file in the downloads folder onto your phone. So let me now access my download folder from my PC itself. So if it's not visible, then simply unplug your phone from the PC and then replug it once again. And likewise, make sure that you have to select file transfer from here. So your phone will now be visible. Let me access my phone once again and go to the downloads folder. And as you could see, we should now have got the init boot file. So there are two files. This is the Boot.img file which I have done earlier, and this is the patch init boot file. To verify the same, you could refer to the file name as well. So in my case, the file name ends with YNJVE. It's the same as YNJVE. Moreover, the file size of init boot is also somewhat lower than the file size of the Boot.img. As you could see, it's around 8 to 10 times smaller init boot file. Anyways, once you have got the patch init boot file, simply copy this init boot file and paste it inside the platform tools folder on your PC. So once you have pasted it, it's better to rename it to something more meaningful. So for the ease of convenience, let's rename it to Magisk patch _ init _ boot, so that it will be easier to remember. Once that is done, you will now have to boot your phone to fastboot mode. So open CMD window inside platform tools folder and now just type in ADB reboot bootloader and hit enter, and with this your phone will now boot to fastboot mode. And now let me tell you one very important aspect. So when it comes to using the Boot.img file, it is highly recommended that you first use the fastboot boot command to temporarily boot your phone to the rooted OS, and then use the direct install to obtain root. But this process only works in case of Boot.img file. This process does not work in case of init boot. When if you talk about the init boot file, then in case of init boot, you have no option but to directly flash the file onto the init boot partition. So let me show you. All you have to do is now simply copy paste this entire command to flash the file, and it will be flashed to the init boot partition. You cannot use the fastboot boot command in case of init boot. So you will have to make sure that it's of the same firmware version. There is no scope of any issues. In case of Boot.img, you could use the boot command to verify the patch boot file, but in case of init boot, there is no scope of any issues. So go to this folder now and open this folder here, and now you have to type in fastboot. So you have to type in fastboot flash. We cannot boot, we have to use the flash, fastboot flash, and the partition is init boot. So type in that init boot, and now type in the file name, which is init patch boot in my case. So type in init patch _ boot.img and hit enter. The flashing will now begin. It will take only a few seconds, and once the flashing is complete, your phone will then boot to the OS. So in my case, since I'm using an Android 13 phone which came with Android 11, I cannot flash the init boot. In fact, init boot will not be there on my phone. That is why I cannot show the flashing. But simply you have to use this command, and your phone will then be rooted by Magisk. So guys, if this command does not work, you could also use the manual commands and use the init boot A partition and init boot B partition to flash the patch init boot to both the slots A and B. The name of the file does not matter. You could name it Magisk patch boot, Magisk patch init boot. simply init boot or simply boot. Naming does not matter. Just make sure to use the flash command and the init boot. Or you could also specify the partition name as well, which is init boot A and init boot B. So guys, on that note, I round up this video. So the entire gist of this video is that if your phone came with Android 12 or older version, you could use the Boot.img file. And if you're using the Boot.img file for rooting, then you have a major advantage. And the advantage is that you could use the boot command to first verify if there's something wrong with the file or not. And once you use the boot command, and if your phone boots with the OS, you could then use the direct install to obtain permanent root. On the other hand, if your phone came with Android 13 or higher version, such as the case with OnePlus 11, so in that case, you have no choice but to use the init boot partition file. And regarding the init boot, you cannot use the boot command. You only have the option to flash the init boot to the init boot partition. So guys, with that said, we round off this video. If you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section. And guys, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more tips and tricks. Thanks a lot for watching.